Good morning, traders. It is Friday, March 29th. I'm going to start off with gold today. Yesterday was a pretty big day for the gold market. We've been talking about how it's been in this bull market, got into a topping phase, started to form this bearish flag, which we were anticipating to really continue. If it had a high momentum move, it was going to really sell off very quickly to the 1255 area. End up forming a bear flag and worked itself a little bit higher than we anticipated, but still within a bear flag formation under previous highs, and it broke down yesterday. Now we had this support trend line across here. We also had this blue line saying that if it was to close or trade below this 1307 area, then we should start to see it break down and work itself down to this 1255 area to the downside. Now, if we take a look at the Fibonacci extension, we can get an idea how we come up with that price. We go from this recent high down to this low and back up to this high, carry it forward here. If we zoom out a bit, you can see where price should be headed. The momentum from this sell-off to this correction shows a continuation move down to the 1255, which would flush this low, it would break this low and create a waterfall sell-off where we see panic selling, everyone gives up on gold, and it should be a good buying opportunity. Now, who knows how long it'll take to get down there? Could happen in a couple bars, or the market could drag things out much further later into April and kind of work itself down over time. You never know how long the market will take to get there. Overall, big breakdown yesterday. Today we're having an oversold bounce. Pretty much all the metals are trading higher this morning. Gold up 1/4%, silver up 7/10, platinum up almost 2, palladium up 3%. If you take a look at palladium, we talked about it, wrote an article several weeks ago right over here where we said it looked like it was topping a major long-term high. If you go back to the monthly chart, we saw it. Well, this isn't the futures contract. Actually, this is, but oh yeah. So palladium ended up going parabolic. We had this measured move from this low to this high to this pullback. Went parabolic. Usually, what goes straight up usually comes straight back down. We talked about it being very similar to a setup like this, similar to this, and even similar to this type where earlier this was a parabolic move straight up just before it reversed. And that's where we're at. We're seeing that big pullback in palladium. We talked about how palladium was likely to fall out of favor, and we should actually see platinum move into favor. And if we zoom out of platinum, you can see how platinum's been out of favor, and it's forming what looks to be a base and has been moving up, and we could start to see platinum start to outperform. Now, if we take a look over at gold miners, GDX, a big down day yesterday, obviously. Still holding up along some key support levels. If we were to just connect some lows across here, you can see we're still holding up above these this support trend line. Overall, it's come up and potentially put in a double top. We'll see if it actually starts to break down and gets through this level. If we look at the gold miner juniors, they have continued to they had a shorter term little trend line across here that they clearly broke down yesterday and starting a move down. And again, if we were to use Fibonacci extension, we've got a move down, a move up, and we'll probably have some type of move down to around this 29 level if that continues to reverse. Now, again, the markets are still, the miners are still holding up along some pretty critical support pivot lows. We've got these levels, but overall we are bearish on metals and miners. And yesterday was a pretty big break to the downside. There is a huge gap window in here. Gaps tend to get filled, so we'll have to see how the market's going to negotiate that, see if it's going to come back up, give us a kiss goodbye, and maybe flush itself down for a continuation move going forward. But overall, bearish on precious metals going forward here. Looking over at the indexes, more or less we are out of the Tech S. Yesterday looked very close, like the market wanted to break down. Again, the trend continues to be up. It's holding up above the 20-day, and more or less we're seeing it continue to rally. Up another almost 0.5% this morning, the SP 500 and the NASDAQ. We're starting to see it muscle its way up. Again, we were talking about it could be something similar to this. Originally, I showed you the cycles. Our cycle was bending down. We were looking for the market to start to top out over here. Instead, we just got a minor pullback. And in general, we've seen the broad market move higher. Now, the small caps did move lower like we anticipated. The large caps obviously didn't. And the small caps are still trying to regain some traction here. They're still stuck under the 20-day, still making a series of lower highs, lower lows. Overall, with the broad large caps moving higher, I think we have to kind of look at this more as a bull flag that's forming through here. And if it starts to break out to the upside, we're going to start to see it run, and we could continue to see another move higher. So we'll have to see how all these are going to play out going forward. Again, very mixed signals. Yesterday's video, I talked about the big picture of the indexes, and more or less, let me go to the SP 500. More or less, we are stuck in a major consolidation / topping phase. If this chart will load, we are in one of these phases here where we've got all the signs of a potential top coming into play. We had that again over here, and we have it again over here. So the big question is this a major top? Or is it a continuation pattern? And until we have a breakout of this pattern, we won't really know for sure. But overall, all the signs are there that we are at one of these major times in the market where we are going to see a huge move to the upside or the downside when it breaks out of this. Now, there's been a lot of damage done with this breakdown. It flushed down and is rallying back up. Very similar to something like this, where you see it break down and then it rallies back up, and similar to this over here where it broke down and rallied back up. We even had the same thing over here. It broke down intra-month and then rallied back up. So we're in this last final stage where we are either going to see a super cycle in the market take off and climb a mega wall of worry, or we are going to see a collapse, and we're going to start to see this depreciate and go into a big sell-off going forward. So we are close to some huge moves and a new multi-year potential move. Question is it to the upside or to the downside? And really, until we get out of this big range, all we can do is trade shorter term moves within this range and try and catch hot stocks or sectors moving in there. Now, we've been talking about natural gas. We got this major support trend line. Last time it came down and tagged it, we got long right down at the tag of the level. We caught a quick 30% in a couple weeks, and the market's been moving down, building maybe a bull flag. Maybe it's going to come down and test this level again. But each time it's tagged it, we've seen a nice rally from that level. And talked about this the other day about the seasonality of March and April. We see natural gas tend to move up. We've got March and April, it moved up again. We've got another March and April all the way into June, another move up, and now we are back down into March and April. And we should start to see this continue to move up with a potential 315 target. So we are liking the setup in natural gas. I think we could be getting some type of little pullback like this, and we start to see a run that could go higher. So we'll see how things unfold, but starting to like natural gas as it kind of floods down. It's down about 0.5% this morning. I would love to see it tag this long-term support level once again as a buy point of some type of flush out low. Could be a great opportunity, but we might not get down that low. Anyways, that's it for now. Talk to you in a little bit. Bye-bye.